Hey Spuddies, Potato McWhiskey here, and welcome back to Let's Play Civilization 6. Today we're going to be playing as Ramses once again, and we have a little bit of work to do. Although I would say generally things are going quite well for us. Once we have flight, our tourism per turn should tick up significantly, and our victory progress will tick up significantly. We're a quarter of the way to victory in terms of total tourists, but I think we'll be able to pick that up quite nicely, especially considering nobody is like running away with culture right now. So we might even be able to finish this game this go of things. Like, it could happen right now. Like, right now we could just win the game. No. I mean, like this, oh my god, what is the word I'm looking for? This episode of the game. Okay, I have a spy counter-spying in Thebes. I think I would like this spy. He has seduction. What do you have? Why don't you cancel your counter-spy, and then I'll use the seduction spy to actually counter-spy. I think that makes a little bit more sense, and then this guy can go steal me a little bit of cash. Ooh, 1,000 gold per steal in Coupe's capital. Don't mind if I do. I might want to think about what alliances I want to have with the AI. I could get an alliance with Poland over here, or I could get an alliance with China over here, and I think China might be a good target. They have relatively low culture, so I could get a cultural alliance with China, although I do want to watch out in case there's any like little weird spots that they could settle to cause me issues, and there are like a couple of weird little spots they could settle to cause me issue, but I'm going to go ahead and accept that as a risk, declare a friendship with China, establish a resident embassy, go for the cultural alliance to get a little bit of culture per turn, and that'll help me finish off the game a little bit sooner. So we did get the temple in Mendez. We could go for the what? I mean, that's 2 sides, 6 faith, and a citizen slot. Pretty darn good. The faith is quite handy to be able to fill out the national parks that we might want to grab, and also a couple of rock bands could be quite handy. I mean, we are at mobilization, which means ideology and Cold War are not too far away, which is when we're going to get the rock band. We got our amphitheater here in Sena, and the city's doing pretty damn good. Unfortunately, I won't be able to build that Sphinx, which is unfortunate, but not the end of the world. I think buying more amphitheaters so that I have more room for great works is the play here. Long term, I think that absolutely just makes sense to me. Now, I don't remember why there's a settler down here. I don't remember why I was settling. Was I settling for trade routes? I think I was, right? So that means I want to settle as close to these guys as I can, within reason. I think I was mostly just looking for good land, but I will also just settle for trade routes. That's fine. All right, let's think about over here. We could definitely do with I suppose the Sphinx is fine. I'll pop a Sphinx down here, that'll buff up that tile, then I can put a little bit of forest and stuff around. Okay, so the Netherlands are super mad at me. That's her right, she can be mad if she wants. Weirdly enough, they're not doing their voice lines, but they are like getting mad at me. And it makes me think of those like funny edits where people like take the music and the voiceover out of scenes and then they put in like the scuffling footsteps of a fight scene. Is that like an audio thing? I guess they're just not talking. Weird, alright. Like, hey, you want to buy this? Weird, he just doesn't, he doesn't like to have a little chat. To be fair, I've had Civ 6 installed for donkey's years, so I don't know how I've managed to affect my installation. I've got 7 envoys in the bank. I don't need to be suzerain of Mohenjo-Daro. In fact, there's not many suzerains here that are particularly useful for this game. I mean, I suppose Yerevan is fine if I do get apostles, but anything that gave me amenities would be cool. I mean, we could go for Cahokia amounts, but they kind of compete with Sphinx, is a little bit of a problem there. I mean, the amenities would be amazing, don't get me wrong. I don't have a whole lot of room for them, and we're heading into our late game. Maybe if this was earlier in the game, I would have fought for Cahokia, but right now I don't think it's particularly important. Yeah, just none of these really matter. Like, that's the end of the day. So I should just go for efficient suzerainties. So get these 2 suzerains, this suzerainty, and I've got 2 left, so I'll take this suzerain as well. So just get a whole bunch of suzerains just for the extra Diplo favor. Like, that's really the most efficient move, because we haven't found any compelling doodly doops. I'm trading with China, I'm trading with Russia, and I'm trading with America. So it would be nice to trade with Inca and the Maure. Perhaps I'll move this trade route over to Sais to see if we can reach further into maybe Poland, or yeah, it would be nice to reach into Poland. I don't think we can, but it would be nice to try. Nice, we've got the entertainment complex in Neken. Let's go for the arena to keep the amenities pumping. I'm going to go ahead and settle this city right here. And then in order to keep loyalty kind of together, I'll buy the monument in here. And that should mostly sort that out. Although we do have a little bit of a happiness problem. Perhaps I can purchase some luxuries. I can. And that should mostly fix the problem. So this is now +3 happiness. Most of my cities now have level 1 positive happiness, giving them a 10% yield boost, which is super ideal. Let's get the granary in here, because the best way for the city to defend its loyalty pressure is with a granary to get more population, and we'll also get any tiles that give us +1 food to allow that city to grow even faster. I'll pop down some nice forests. I can finally trade with Poland, so let's look for that. We've got Bydgoszcz. Did I have to pronounce that? Bydgoszcz. It's probably like Bydgoszcz or something, you know? we can grab I'll grab a Peter relic. That seems fine. I need one more, and then I can start maybe doing a little bit of theming. I think I was going to do like some swapping here, but I still have to wait for this. Maybe can I do this? Oh, I have 2 Rembrandts. Okay, I need to get rid of a Rembrandt. Let me see if I can do that. Let me sell off this Rembrandt to you, and then I want to buy a portrait that isn't Rembrandt. Here we go. Timur granting the audience. Perfect. I'll grab this. And that should be now 3 museums fully themed, very happy, pumping out extra little chunks of tourism. Although that said, this defensive tourist number is increasing incredibly quickly for Peter. Which is surprising considering his culture per turn really isn't that high. We have the amphitheater and Rakadet, which means we could quite happily buy 2 more great works of writing from the AI. It would be nice to get the shipyard. I think I'm going to go for the archaeological museum. There's a ton of archaeological dig sites around. Let's have a look. Let's sell off our luxuries. Sell off the spares. Perfect. Let's see if we can sell off all of the strategic resources as well. Pick up as much gold per turn as we can, because then we can turn that gold per turn into great works. So I'll pick up 51 gold per turn from Russia, and then I will go around right away and buy, particularly from Russia, I want to buy his great works to reduce his total amount of tourism. So I'm going to buy the great works of writing from him, because what that does is it lowers his culture per turn, which is his defense, and it raises my tourism per turn, which is my offense, which basically means I'm double dipping. Whereas if I was buying from another player, I would only be increasing my offense and not my enemy's defense. And it is the defense of the player with the highest culture that you really care about. So we completed another amphitheater in Sainet. Let's get the archaeological museum. I might build another couple of art museums. Let me have a look. Yeah, we might want to consider that. Let's choose a mission in here. You're going to go ahead and gain sources. This will give you 2 levels higher, which gives you a higher success rate on siphon funds. I think it's always worth it to do that. I always take the lowest risk option with my spies. I think it's just generally the right move. Let's have a look at the great engineer situation. So we missed out on Gustav Eiffel, which, isn't amazing, but I don't mind. We're getting James Watt. So we're going to go for flight and then go for steel. I think that's the play. I used to, in base game Civ, I used to use Seaside Resorts all the time to win my games, but they just haven't really been relevant for a very long time. Let me have a look here. Ooh, there is a flood coming, which makes me probably need to rush computers here, which I don't love doing. It's not my favorite thing to do. And I also need to get Mary Leakey. So I'm going to cancel this archaeological museum and do some campus research grants in the hopes that we can get Mary Leakey. I know I said I might not be able to get her, but I think I'm going to give it the attempt. This 136 points, that should be him doing a project. He should never actually finish that. But if I can get Mary Leakey this game, it would actually significantly increase the rate at which I could win. There's mobilization, which should give us the ability to combine units together into armies, which is worth era score, so that's something we want to consider. We also have another spy in Swinet. Let's have a look at maybe we could steal some tech. Maybe Amsterdam is the place to steal from. Who has the highest tech aside from me? It looks like it's Russia, actually. So let's go make friends with Russia and yoink Reno, his tech Reno. So the completion of the spy in here is kind of interesting. We could go for another campus. Oh my god, how is America making 141? He's making more. What the hell is going on in America? Legitimately. I don't think I can do this. If that's his actual score, if that's what he's doing, that's insane. So we got the spy in Swinet. We have a fully built theatre square. We could get the bank. A builder in here would allow me to get more tourism because I could replace these 2 mines with Sphinx. Now there is a way to get another culture on the Sphinx, and it's natural history. +1 culture if built on floodplains. Do I already have natural history? I do, okay. Oh, do you know what it is? It's I should probably look to buy some relics. Russia just offered me a relic and I forgot about that. There's flight, which will bump up our tourism per turn. I definitely need to go around and do open borders. I'm missing open borders with a few people. So let's get that done. This will be an open borders turn. She hates me, so she won't do it. I'm not sure why the AI hates me, but that's just, part of life. Sometimes people don't like you and you have to accept that. You cannot be friends with everyone all the time, but we will do our best to be in the best position that we can be. I'll declare friendships with Poland. That seems like a reasonable thing to do. I'll drop a Sphinx because that's worth 2 tourism per turn. It's like get that little bit of extra tourism. It matters. Really, really does. I'm going to go ahead and buy myself another naturalist because I have another potential national park down here. And there's a couple more that I'm really looking forward to getting online. Let's keep the production train rolling. I'll take a Peter artifact. I'm liking that. Okay, we got some industrial zones. We've got another campus finishing, which is exciting. Okay, America went down to a way more reasonable number here. Way more reasonable number. So we actually do have a chance, I think. Metal casting is finished. We also finished a campus here in Memphis. I'd like to get this library and the university. I may actually try to do a gold injection here. So I'll buy the library, buy the university. But in order to buy the university, I'll need to sell stuff. So I'll get that gold immediately. And then boom, there's the university. And then I can come in here and do another campus research grant. And that might help. Jesus. He's really going to get it, isn't he? Damn, I hate it when I don't get Mary Leakey because she's such an important one for the type of victory I'm going for, and I'm investing a lot in getting her. But I suppose it's not the end of the world if I don't. It just means a slightly slower victory. I would like more great engineer points. And to that end, I'm going to build up my industrial zone in Akitaten. But I also need to make sure that I'm building up a reasonable amount of great merchant points, because a lot of the late game great merchants actually do help a lot with tourism. If I go over here, you can see where are we right now? We're in the industrial era. So for example, Sarah Breedlove, 25% tourism rate. Melita Bentz, 25% tourism rate. Industrial zones provide tourism. Campus districts provide tourism. So there is like, you know, a potential here for us to do some interesting things there. I would like to try out a science-based Dragon MMO? No, I would like to try out like a heavily industrial zone, commercial hub, campus-based tourism victory where you build like a really, really powerful empire and you go for great people. I think that could be kind of an exciting and interesting way to play the game. So I built a builder here primarily just to add more Sphinx to my empire. We could build more banks. I would like the extra great people points towards... Oh, there's Sarah Breedlove. Okay, well, that means immediately everywhere that we have a commercial hub that isn't doing an important project, we will start doing commercial hub projects because we like 25% tourism rate is so good. It's an insane amount. So we will definitely be going for her. We managed to get the Watt in here. I could build a commercial hub just to contribute towards Sarah Breedlove, which is honestly not a bad idea. I think I'm going to go ahead and take this tile, put my commercial hub up there, take 12 turns, but it will get us another trade route. And we do need in total this game, there's 7 other civilizations and we need 1 trade route per civ in the game to be able to optimize our tourism, because you get tourism based on 1 trade route to the other player. Let's go ahead and designate another national park. I do feel like maybe the tourism from trade routes should scale. Like maybe you get 25% for the first trade route and then another, or like 15% for the first trade route and then 10% for the second, then 5% for the third, and then everyone after that is another 5%. So it would allow you to like deepen ties, and then you could embargo another player, you could do interesting things. I don't know, something to think about maybe. I think there's a lot of potential here with like small tweaks to like some of the game mechanics in Civ to make them a little bit more interesting, I feel. So there's ideology, which should allow us to build another spy, which is something we definitely want to get our hands on. We managed to build a factory over here in Sais. We do want that coal power plant, but we also want to get that commercial hub up. So I'm going to prioritize the commercial hub over the coal power plant, just because that's how important Sarah Breedlove is here. I managed to get the theatre square here in Apu. Let's go for the amphitheatre. Again, amphitheatres give us more great work of writing slots, which is more tourism. We're going to go for democracy. Fascism, very much so geared towards warfare. Communism, very much so geared towards science. Democracy, very much so geared towards science or tourism and diplomacy. So I think democracy here is our best bet. In the city of Neken, I'm going to slowly work on a zoo. This will just help my amenities in the long term. This zoo right here, I believe, if I go for the city overlap, yeah, that's a 7-city zoo. So that's worth essentially like having 2 more luxuries in my empire. That's how powerful that is. I could plug in logistics here. Let me move my builders around faster. I would rather just get extra money. I think that kind of suits me a little bit better. I think public works is still fine. Liberalism is still fine. I don't have any of the cards to give me extra tourism yet, so I don't need to change anything. Colonial taxes, like some of these things are quite good. I think colonial taxes might actually be better than Merchant Confederation. I still want invention because I like getting the great engineers really quickly. That like suits me quite well. I would love to have 5-year plan plugged in, but I just don't have enough policy cards. I didn't really go for like any wonders that extend my policy capabilities. Krista Redentor is fine. I don't think we're going to go for it this game. Let's siphon some funds from Te Hokianga Nuakupe, because we have now done the mission that gives us +2 levels. We're still setting up for this national park down here. My spy has established himself in St. Petersburg. Let's gain sources. I do need to build another spy, and I also need to get another trade route up. I think I can buy the trade route reasonably. I'm going to get it over here, I think. Ooh, I don't like this battleship. That is a little bit of a concern for my trading potential. So instead, I'm going to get my trade route in Edfu and see if I can't reach maybe the Netherlands over here. This whole like right side of the screen is just filled with alerts that I don't read. There's ballistics. That's quite handy. It's another step on the way. Are we going for steel here, or do we really need... The flooding is happening. Let me take stock of my empire. There's like a little bit of flooding. There's a coastal lowlands I need to search for. Coastal lowland and then space Egypt. That'll tell me all the tiles inside my empire. So there's 4 tiles. Okay, I think I did this last episode and I realized that it's not important. Yep, it's not important for me to get computers for the flood barrier. I would rather rush for steel, which is what we're doing. So we're going to be getting steel pretty soon. I need to pick a city that I'm going to build steel in, or build the Eiffel Tower in, rather. I cannot quite reach any of those other players. I'm not trading with the Inca, though. So this will be a 25% boost to my tourism. So I'm happy to do this. How's the tourism going? We're at 84 out of 268. Let's just do the division here, which means we're now at 30% rather than 25%. So we are slowly gaining and we are slowly winning. Okay, I lost a national park here because of tile growth. Unlucky. I guess in theory, if I killed this Sphinx, I could put a new national park here, which I think is a worthwhile endeavor. God, America is just stomping away at Mary Leakey. That's so unfortunate. Would have been amazing to get to get her in my empire. Let me have a look at what the great engineers are available. It would be nice to get James Watt. These are modern eras. We're currently in the industrial era. The modern era follows the industrial era. So if I could get 2,000 gold this turn, I could steal James Watt. This would give my factories an extra 4 production each. That'd be a lot of production across my empire. Like, it would be pretty good because I do have Mausoleum, which means I get 2 charges on him. Let's see if I can get close to 2,000 gold here this turn. So I'll sell off whatever I can. Sell off that Niter. Let's sell off the Diplo Favor. Okay, I think we can get close enough to where we can consider this a possibility. So I just need like another 400 gold. Maybe I could do an exchange. If I trade 19 GPT, which is about 600 gold, call it 570 gold, I'll get 400 gold right now. So I lose 170 gold in this deal, but it gives me the opportunity to purchase James Watt, who I can then use to build a factory here and a factory here, which I think is super worth it. The Archaeological Museum is finished in Rat Cadet. I think that means we go straight into the Archaeologist because that's a direct tourism increase. The Commercial Hub is completed in Sace. Let's go for the market because we want Sarah Breedlove. The Workshop is completed in here, but we don't need to build a factory because we have James Watt now to do that for us. So we'll just go straight for the Commercial Hub, again for Sarah Breedlove because she's the most important thing that is currently available. I mean, it would have been Mary Leakey. I remember when Mary Leakey was like hyper meta for me when I would play the game. I would go for Mary Leakey every single game that I was doing a tourism victory. Those were the good old days. The meta has since changed, sadly. I think it would be really fun to do a science-based tourism victory. I think that would be kind of an interesting play. I'd like to explore that possibility. I don't think it would be a good build in the sense that it would be strong, but I think it would be interesting in the sense that it would make for a fun video. So I've managed to get a couple of builders, which I think should mostly handle all of the remaining tile improvements over here in this city. So probably the best way for me to get extra tourism here is to build something like an entertainment complex, or at least a neighborhood. Like there is a +6 neighborhood right there. So we'll just kind of do that so you can work more tiles. Looking at the city of Shadette, probably the best thing that I could do in here is to like build a ship as the city slowly grows. It's literally a trading post. So like if you eventually contribute to my military score, thank you. Otherwise, I don't really particularly care what you do. Let's go ahead and build the factory with James Watt. So what this will do is normally a factory will produce baseline, I believe, 3 production. But with James Watt, I think if we refresh this, they should produce extra. Yeah, they're up to 8, especially because the city is powered. So normally if this was powered, it would produce 6 production, but because I use James Watt, it produces 8. And if I do James Watt again in another city, that'll be +10, which means every single one of the cities that is in range of this factory, which is 3 cities, will get +10 production, which is actually a really significant amount of production. Especially if you consider this one down here, right? This is a +7 city. Now, I mean, some of these are covered already by the industrial zone to the north, but this is potentially a 70 production factory. Really, really powerful. I think a few factories is like super worth it in almost any empire. There is a big opportunity cost to building an industrial zone, but I think being able, because the great engineers are not particularly heavily contested, so I do think it's worth it. We do now have access to suffrage, which means we're going to switch our government to democracy. Now, public works I think is still totally reasonable. We will want to change that out eventually. However, when you get democracy, you get a really powerful card called New Deal, which gives you +4 housing and +2 amenities for all cities with at least 3 specialty districts. This just gives you a huge amount of amenities, a huge amount of housing, and a huge amount of yields because amenities equals yields. Colonial taxes is fine. Do I want to plug in anything else? I think it would be reasonable to plug in Merchant Confederation. And I would rather have military research right now because I think science is more important than gold in my current standing. It would be nice to plug in 5-year plan, but I don't really have my power plants built, so it's not super important. I do think it would be reasonable to plug in Autocratic Legacy here, but there might be better choices. Let's explore those possibilities. Raj would be slightly more optimal if I wanted science. I could plug in 5-year plan for that extra little bit of science. It would be kind of interesting to plug in inspiration to get an extra couple of scientist points, but I don't know if that's necessarily going to be particularly helpful this game. Economic Union is quite handy for gold. I could also just go for as much culture as possible with aesthetics. I think I'll plug in frescoes. This will get me potentially more great artists, which is worth era score, it's worth tourism. It kind of points my empire in the right direction. So with suffrage, we now want to make our way towards Cold War and some of these late game things like cultural heritage. Cultural heritage will give us 100% tourism from great works of art and artifacts. I believe professional sports will unlock the ski resort, which is an important source of tourism in the late game. Rock bands are also super important, which we want to unlock ASAP. Then we also have space race, which gives us a 200% tourism from great works of music, which we will be getting our hands on soon. And then social media is especially important for the 50% tourism output to civilizations that you have a trade route with. And environmentalism gives you just a 25% tourism boost across your empire flat. So it's a huge amount of boosted tourism available here in the late game. So culture is really super important for us. There's many sources of tourism that we can get our hands on. I actually think getting laissez-faire here might be really useful. If I can grab this, that'll make getting Sarah Breedlove way more achievable. which means I should totally build my banks if I'm going to do that. So let me go through my empire and find where I haven't built my banks. I have a hotkey that lets me cycle through my cities. It's extremely helpful in these situations. I recommend everybody get a hotkey that lets them cycle through their cities. Theater Square in Apu. Let's go for the art museum. I think an art museum is a little bit more appropriate here in Apu. We should be close to getting another, yeah, we're close to getting another artist, which will allow me to produce great works of art, sell them off, and then actually start to theme them. So that'll work out wonderfully for us. I'm going to, even though I don't want to buy this tile right now, I'm going to buy it just so that I can get the Sphinx on it, because that will significantly increase the quality of this national park. I definitely want to get my hands on a couple more national parks, so I'm going to buy this mountain. I don't know if this tile is ready for this yet, actually, because I also need to get rid of this Sphinx, so we'll have to kind of like play it by ear a little bit. But we're up to 500 tourism per turn, which is what I would consider to be a very nice place to be. We also just boosted class struggle. I think we built our third factory, which is quite nice. But that also means that we're getting quite a bit more on the great engineer front. Now, Alvar Aalto, it's going to be sad if we don't get him. So that's going to be a difficult moment for us that we're going to have to contend with. Like, there's a lot of competition for great people here. But we also need to be building builders. Like, I just need more builders, ideally. Let's go for the bank. Do I keep going for campus research grants? I mean, we're kind of competitive. I think I have to try as hard as I can to get Mary Leakey just because of the sheer amount of tourism that she represents. If I can get my hands on her, like it super just changes the game. Let's go ahead and get the bank because we want to make sure that we can boost Sarah Breedlove as much as possible when we get the capitalism card. I'll pop down a Sphinx here. That'll give me the appeal. I'm going to buy myself a naturalist here. See if I can't get my hands on a little bit more gold. There's a little bit more cash, which I can then use to buy these two tiles. And this should be a very successful national park for me. Excellent. I'm also going to buy this tile right here because I can pop a Sphinx on this tile. Boom. Which will make this adjacency here even higher. This is a 7 appeal tile. That's insane. Unfortunately, I did miss out on this mountain, but that mountain wasn't like super important to me. It was generally part of my plans. People are like getting ready to declare war on me, which makes me slightly uncomfortable. At least that's what it feels like. It feels like people are kind of gearing up for a potential war. There's another national park. We do love to see that. See, if I recruit James Joyce with faith, that will be +3 era score. How can I get 3 era score here? Well, one way to do that is to combine units together. So if you eat this, boom, and you eat this, boom, that was 2 era score. I need +1 era score. Do I have a city-state that I can levy? Yerevan, let me levy you. Boom. Golden Age secured. Perfect. While this isn't the most important Golden Age to get, we really want the Golden Age for the next era. That would be the ideal one to get. I'm willing to take this one. Right, there's capitalism, market economy, and shopping malls. Really what we want is laissez-faire. I'm going to take out frescoes, and I'm going to go ahead and plug in laissez-faire. Does it give me +2 merchant points for every bank, which is the thing that we're looking for. I could plug in market economy here. I don't think it's better than any of the current cards that I have, though. I do have more governor titles. I could totally finish off Pingala. I could also take contractor on Reina. I think I'll appoint, well, I don't need to appoint anymore. I'm going to hold on to those until the next era. Let's go for Cold War because we're almost done spending faith on national parks. Let's get the market and the bank in here. Let's get the market and the bank in here as well. Sarah Breedlove is like a huge priority because she's a massive, massive tourism multiplier. You have done good work here. Let's go ahead and continue to steal tech if at all possible. I'm going to go ahead and teleport James Joyce, who I believe is an Irish writer, to this theatre square over here so that he can make his great works. You could do it without teleporting, but it's just like, I don't know, mechanically simpler for me. I'm going to chop here. That'll finish this neighborhood slightly faster, and then we can put a Sphinx down. And apparently I have an infantry, which is quite handy. I think that was one that I soothed. May as well get 2 tourism per turn from a Sphinx. Like, why not? Every little shred of tourism that we can get means that we win faster. And that's the goal, is to win as fast as possible. Let's see here. Yeah, somebody stole tech from me, which I'm okay with. The world enters into the modern era. In particular, we enter in a golden age. I suppose reform the coinage here is fine. It might have been better to go dark age here, but we're going to get Sofonisba Anguissola, who is a great artist, and I will position her into this city, Apu, because that's where my next art museum comes up. I don't particularly care about the outcome of this, so I'm just going to vote random stuff. This isn't important to the outcome of the game, so the only one that I really care about is democracy getting an extra wildcard slot. If that happens, that would be amazing. If it doesn't, it doesn't matter. So it looks like oligarchy passed, which is kind of odd. Why the AI in oligarchy this deep into the game? But, you know, I'm not going to question it. We finished the market in Akitaten. We get the bank again for Sarah Breedlove. Also, my banks are worth 13 gold per turn, which is actually super, super nice. And we are now second in terms of actually acquiring Sarah Breedlove. So we just need a little bit more points and we can get her. I'm going to build a shopping mall in Iwinwe, one might call it. Let's drop the great work of writing and then we'll move you in position. Let's drop the woods. How much is it for a naturalist? 1400 faith. Okay, so a little bit of time before we can get that. So at 110 out of 332. So we are making good pace. We definitely need more trade routes. I'm a little bit concerned. Oh my god, Whanganui is flipping independent, which is not ideal. I'm going to buy myself a couple of traders in Shadet to be able to trade with potentially the Netherlands and Maori. And I'm going to go ahead and buy myself a privateer as well to protect these trade routes. We're now officially top of the pops when it comes to getting Sarah Breedlove, which I'm very happy about. The archaeologist is finished, so we can go ahead and get more archaeological thingies. Finally, it might be good for us to get the coal power plant. It's an extra great engineer point, and we would really like those great engineer points. I think it would be good to continue to grow the city maybe. We do have really high amenities, which I'm super happy about. Coal power plant, shipyard. Could go for another commercial hub, could go for a campus. I feel like the commercial hub is the thing in the late game that gives the best rewards. The city is already powered, so it doesn't need the coal power plant. And neither do nearby cities need that coal power plant. We're taking a look at Edfu. Okay, so we've basically completed Edfu in terms of building. Like, we no longer need more builders in here. I suppose the only really thing left to do, by the way, I have 1337 money. Leet, a classic internet meme. I don't particularly need an encampment. I don't really need much of anything in here. I could get it to slowly build me a spy, which I'm totally fine with. Like, I don't need that spy now. Right, let's trade with Capiti over there. And then we'll also trade with the Netherlands if at all possible. So Rotterdam. Perfect. So we're now trading with every civ in the game, I believe. Every single civ in the game I have a unique trade route to, which is getting me a 25% tourism boost. And I should also be replicating that through open borders. So we should be growing our tourism capabilities really, really quickly now. I have a privateer in position to try to kill this barb camp and protect my situation. I'll probably need like another couple of boats here. We got the bank in Thebes, which is worth +3 great merchant points. I could get the watermill, it's not particularly important. I think we're going to go for the National History Museum. That's going to be +4 great work slots, which means we can fit more great works into our empire, especially in a city with Pingala, and Pingala also boosts them by 100%. That kind of fits just nicely with the plays. We managed to finish the bank in Sais again. That is +3 great merchant points per turn, which means we are now top of the pops when it comes to Sarah Breedlove. That's perfect. Let's go ahead and get the coal power plant here because the city is unpowered and we do want that extra 6, I believe it is, 3 production that comes from being powered in here. Although I don't know if I've actually found any coal. There is a hunk of coal over here, so I will want to get myself a builder. Let's just buy that with gold. We'll send it over there to get that done. Managed to get the zoo in Niken. We could go for the military academy. This would get me a little bit of era score, so I will go for that. Plus, it's also worth +2 science per turn, which is pretty handy. We're about to finish steel, so we need to think about which city is going to build that. I'll kind of look at that next turn. So we managed to get our hands on steel, which gives us access to the Eiffel Tower, as well as +1 production from lumber mills. We can no longer build walls, which is fine. It's not important to our game plan anymore. We already got most of the tourism we can from walls within a reasonable optimization window. This build is going over here to get that coal online, and we need to think about where we're going to build the Eiffel Tower. Let's have a little bit of a flick around. 32 turns in Akhenaten. That's currently my best shot. Okay, so I think I'm going to build it in Akhenaten, and in order to optimize this, I'm going to zoom out, and every tile that has production on it, I'm going to try to steal, like this iron mine here. Now, do I have a great engineer sitting around? I feel like I did, and there he is, Filippo Brunelleschi, of course. Right, I knew I had one sitting around, ready for this moment. Let's drop the Eiffel Tower. Now, the power of the Eiffel Tower here is for every national park inside Egypt, and I'll do a little search here to show you guys, right? That's 32 national parks. When I build the Eiffel Tower, that will give +2 appeal to every tile in my civilization, which means every single national park tile, right, and each national park is 4 tiles, will get +2 appeal. Now that excludes mountains, because mountains are just fixed to 4, which I find kind of BS. I feel like mountains should interact with the Eiffel Tower. I think that would be a nice change to the game, but it's neither here nor there. It's not important. But let's say on average, we're going to get a +2 tourism per turn per tile in a national park. So we're talking like 64 tourism per turn. That's pretty damn good. But it also scales for seaside resorts, which is going to be something we need to optimize for too. We can get a few of those. And additionally, the higher your base tourism, the better your multipliers. So this multiplier right here, and the multiplier you get from computers, that will multiply that by 50%. And then that gets multiplied again when you start applying it with trade routes, with open borders, with special religion modifiers, right? So this is all really, really good stuff. Like, it's really, really good to get high base tourism. So the next step here for us, we have flight, which gives us a little bit of tourism. We have steel, which gives us the potential for Eiffel Tower. Now we want to pick up radio so that we can build seaside resorts. And then we want to move towards computers to get the 25% tourism across our empire. So everything is kind of working out really nicely for the late game. Now I thought I might win the game this episode, but I think it's going to have to be the next episode. I am doing commercial hub investments here in Swinet, but I don't think it's necessary anymore. God damn, Mary Leakey. I actually might be able to get her. I really hope I can. She's basically the last great scientist that matters for a tourism victory. So she's the most important one, really. If I look at the city of Swinet, it has a commercial hub, it has a theatre square. So if I'm thinking about optimizing for tourism, then perhaps I should look into a neighborhood, a water park, an entertainment complex. All of these things could potentially give you a lot of tourism. I think I'd like to go for the neighborhood route. That's +4 tourism for a single single district and building. It's a relatively cheap way to get +4 tourism. I don't think there's many more optimal ways to get extra tourism in this city. Let's cancel the bank. We start the Eiffel Tower. Filippo Brunelleschi will be in position next turn to build that faster. And I'll also be able to plug in the Wonder Building card to try to get that a little bit sooner too. I think though that this is a good a point as any to start leaving off here. I'm going to call that the end of this episode. We're on the verge of getting the Eiffel Tower. We're on the verge of so many potential, really important things. And I think it's going to be a very exciting time in the next episode. We are about a third of the way to a victory, but we should be able to speed that up, particularly with the things that we unlock in the next episode. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.